Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Oh, it's finally, let me hang my jacket up. 1 second. Oh, thanks. I was just saying it's finally warmed up a little bit, which is welcome, and the rain has stopped, which is welcome. So I'm going to enjoy that today. Today, what's on the agenda today? Well, a couple things. I'm going to go out and scout out a new location today. So I want to bring you guys along with me. Someplace maybe where I can go to a little bit more regularly. It's not too far away. It's maybe 10 minutes down the road, but it feels like, you'll see, it feels like it's just a world away from everything. It's this little back country road. Now, mind you, we're in we're not in the middle of Silicon Valley, but I mean, we're in the San Francisco metro area. I mean, we can get to downtown San Francisco in 30 minutes. So, but this, when I take you there, I mean, it feels like we're just out in the middle of nowhere. And so there's this little road that goes back around there, and there's hardly any traffic on it. And there's a reservoir back there, and then there's like an archery range and stuff like that back there. And so I want to check it out, and I want to see if we can find a little place that we can kind of set up for the day and be together, and I can get some work done. So let's get that underway. I do have some things I need to put in the fridge. You know me, I got my tea, so brought my heavy whipping cream and my milk. So we're gonna put that in the fridge. And my little indulgence, can you see that? That's my, when I make my coffee, that's my Torani Classic Caramel. And for lunch, don't judge me, I'm doing the Mandarin style orange chicken bowl from Trader Joe's. That's kind of good, so I'm going to do that. And I have been having some, well, as you guys know, I run an Airbnb on the property. And recently, we've had a little skunk that has been visiting the property. And the skunk, it's becoming mating season here. And so the skunk is trying to, I think, find a home where it's going to be able to, set up shop with its mate and maybe have little babies. And so it's decided that underneath the Airbnb is a nice place to be. So it's kind of engaged in Mortal Kombat with me to stake its claim there. But of course, I can't let the Airbnb become its home. It's so bad that it's been spraying underneath the Airbnb. I've had guests that had to check out early. I had to refund them. I had to cancel 2 guests this week because the skunk just kept on spraying in the middle of the night, and it was really bad. I mean, the smell was really bad. So I've set up a huge Operation Skunk Works, where I'm not going to kill the skunk, obviously, or even harm it, but I am going to deter it, and I'm going to win this battle. So, long story short, I bought this. This is one of the phases. I don't know if it actually works. It's called Repels All. And it's supposed to work on skunks and raccoons and things like that. It's non-toxic to pets and stuff like that. But I bought this, and I sprinkled it all around the Airbnb and all of that. And so I also brought some here to where the RV is, because I thought this morning when I was walking down the driveway, I might have seen a little mouse, I'm not sure, that was scurrying under the RV. I've never really seen any mice or anything like that down here at the street. I think it's too close to the street. But it could have been a bird. It could have been a bird. I couldn't really tell. But in any case, I brought some of this down and I sprinkled it all around where the RV is. I don't know if it'll have any effect, but cannot have rodents up in this RV. I'm sorry, you can't do it. So first thing is I'm going to deter as much as I can. And I also bought cayenne pepper. you should see the Airbnb. It's like a witch's brew pot up there with that stuff and cayenne pepper. And I bought a bunch of fresh serrano and jalapeno chilies, and I ground them all up and made this concoction and spread it all around. Anyways, I'm locked in combat with this skunk up there. And so some of the stuff is making it down here. I just want to make sure the rodents aren't getting up in the RV. Since that video Shade, where we found a little mouse in the RV, I have not had any problems at all. I do have a little mouse trap set up in the back there, but I'm hoping it doesn't catch anything. All right, let me get this stuff put away, and then we will hit the road. Okay. All right, I think we're ready to go. You guys ready? I am going to crank the heat up so that we basically don't have to use propane. This heater is so great that by the time I get there, the whole cabin will be heated up nicely, and the propane can just, the Truma can just be used to maintain the temperature. So, all right, let's just let the engines warm up, and then we will get on our way. What do you think? I think it's lovely. It's yeah, it's not that far from home basically, but I mean it's really private and lovely. There's no one here. I get 1 bar 5G. And that's a trailhead down there. Now I'm gonna go check it out because I want to find a place where I can take my e-bike. Oh, it says no bikes. I see it already. That's too bad. That's too bad. Looks like a nice trail. Arson Trail. I hear a little creek or something down here. Okay, this could be a nice little spot right here in the summer because it's under the shade of this oak tree. So this could be nice. Okay, again, no bikes on this trail either. That's okay. I don't have to always ride my bike. Okay, so I just turned on the Truma heater. So driving here, yeah, see, we got up to 60 degrees. A little, which is, you know, I'm set the Truma to around 65. So the Truma is going to do a lot less work to basically bring the coach, the house part of the coach, up to temperature. So yeah, really happy with the ProMaster. It heats up fast, and I've had other RVs where just because of the design of the RV, something I didn't think about. So for instance, on my Road Trek CS Adventurous, come take a look here. I'll show you what I mean. But like if we're looking, so we're looking down the back. So on my CS Adventurous, it was about 2 or 3 feet longer than this coach, and but the way it was designed is it was very narrow hallway here because there was just a lot of cabinetry And like the bathroom was all over here, and then the kitchen was on the driver's side, and there was a lot of kitchen cabinets over here. And so what that created was a very narrow hallway. And so when I had the heat on or the air conditioner on in the cab, it was a little bit tougher to get any air all the way back. If you can imagine, back at the back windows, even kind of 2 feet beyond that was the bench seat in the back. So if I were carrying passengers, they were all the way back there. A lot of times I'd have to have fans set up in the hallway to move the air conditioning or the heat into the back, because the difference in temperature between the cab and the back was substantial. And so I learned when I got my Ascent, I wanted to have a shorter rig, and I wanted it more open, so that way the airflow between the front and the back would keep the back passengers more comfortable. And you know what? It did actually work. I didn't have to use the fans basically in the Ascent in order to keep the people in the back comfortable. Now, I mean, mind you, like if you're in a Quebec winter in February where it's minus 20 degrees outside, yeah, you're going to be running the Truma, the coach heater, whatever the heater might be. You're going to be running that in order to keep the people in the back comfortable. But in general, in the spring and summer and stuff like that, you can probably, on the Ascent and on this rig as well, you can just use the cab air conditioning, climate control, and it's enough airflow to keep back here pretty temperate. Because like I'm back here right now, and it feels pretty much the same as when I'm in the cab. It's a little bit cooler just because, you know, we're a little bit narrow here, but it's pretty good. So in any case, I'm happy with the design of the Panoramic and the airflow in the Panoramic. These are just things, you know, I never thought about these things. Honestly, when I bought my first, you learn every RV that you buy, so definitely didn't know anything when I bought my Road Trick. I was just your typical buyer. I was like, oh, it's so pretty, I want to buy it, and I went out and bought it. and you know, I learned. And then with the Ascent, I remember with the Ascent, I sat down and wrote down what are like my top 5 things that I didn't like about my Road Trick. And then I made sure that I addressed those. You know, it's similar. I do that in relationships too. I write down after the relationship, what are the 5 things that I can learn from myself and from someone else when I'm looking for a new partner that I ran into in the last. Anyways, TMI. And I fixed them in the Ascent. And then when I got the Panoramic, I kind of did the same thing. Now, mind you, the Pleasureway, the Ascent was pretty darn close to perfect for me. I really did, and you can watch my old videos. I loved the Ascent. I really did. But there were a few things that I didn't. Let me turn on some lights in here. It's a little bit dark. There we go. There were a few things. I get a lot of light coming from the sunroof, which I like, right in front of you. There were a few things that I wanted to make the RV a little more perfect for me. I wanted the biggest one for me was I needed 2 living spaces. I love the Ascent. I love the big bed in the back. I love the big lounge, but it got a little bit old. And toward the end, you know, converting that bedroom to a lounge. And toward the end, I just stopped doing it. I just left it a bedroom. But then what I found was, because there's only 1 living space, I didn't have a place to work, or I'd have to just lay on the bed with my laptop, which was okay. But it sure is nice having a dedicated front lounge where you can eat, where you can do work, you know, watch a movie and stuff like that, and still have the permanent bed in the back. So that was one really big one for me that I wanted. And I did want just a tad bit more breathing room, living room in it. And because I felt the bathroom was a little bit small on the Ascent. And so I got that with the Panoramic. But I did not want to sacrifice the ease of driving, the parking, the maneuverability that I had with the Ascent. I knew that for sure, because the extra 3 feet length on my CS Adventurous was too much. And I would drag the bottom coming in and out of certain driveways and things like that. And it was harder to park. And I said, I don't want that. That will cause me not to use my RV as often as I want to use it. And I was right. And so when I got the Ascent, much easier, it rode much better, and I I tended to use it a lot more than I used my Road Trek. Road Trek also makes a short one. They make the 19, they use the 19-foot 144-inch wheelbase Sprinter on their SS Agile. So that one's nice, and that one does ride nice. But so I wanted something shorter. This one split the difference between the larger extended wheelbase Sprinter and the 19-foot little one that like the Ascent had. So I found that was perfect. And then I wanted to have a larger lithium system on it. Not that I mean, my lithium system on the Ascent was plenty good, but the I should actually say it's not so much just a larger lithium system. I wanted a larger inverter. I wanted a larger inverter on the Ascent because I could not. It was 2,000 watts for me. For you, it might be okay, but for me, 2,000 watts was just a little bit is too small. Just not enough where I could live in the RV like I do in a house. So with the Ascent, I could run things like the microwave. I could certainly watch TV. I could do all that stuff. But if I wanted to run the microwave and like the coffee maker, no bueno, I couldn't do it. It would trip the breakers because there was too much surge draw for the 2,000 watts. Or if I wanted to run the microwave in the air conditioner without starting the generator, I couldn't do it. And that was another thing is I didn't want a generator. That's just me. I didn't like carrying around the extra bulk of the generator. I was only carrying around that generator on the Ascent to run the air conditioner, which seemed silly to me, and it was loud. It was not one of the newer quiet generators. But yeah, I didn't want a generator. It's interesting because some people like they're so against propane and stuff like that. And maybe they're also against a generator. But a lot of people, they'll have a generator if it's like a gas or diesel generator and it takes off the main tank of the chassis, but they don't want propane. And I'm not like that. I actually appreciate propane. I like propane. It gives me a feeling of security. I like knowing that I have multiple energy sources available to me. So, if I don't have to think about, oh, how much gas do I have in the tank when I pull in somewhere because I'm going to be running the heater and I'm going to be, I need water heated and stuff like that. I don't want to have to think about and tie that to how much gas do I have in the gas tank. That's just me. I'd rather have the propane and know that I have, it's dedicated for basically cooking and heating, and I have that. And then I can augment my energy usage with things like solar and then the alternator in the engine to recharge the batteries. So the more stuff that I keep on electricity, the better, because I can easily just control that by driving around a little bit or going to a sunny spot. So I prefer propane over the generator, which is why on this rig, there is no generator. And I don't believe it's even an option on the Panoramic, and I'm fine with that. And I don't need to run it because I have a large enough battery capacity and I have a large enough inverter that I can run everything that I need to run just completely off the lithium battery capacity that I have. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. That's my thing. We're a little bit tilted at this location. I used on the iPhone, there's an app called Measure. I don't know if you know that. I've showed it to you before, I think. Excuse me. I'll show it to you again. And it's great. I used to carry a little level inside my RV that you could put down. I don't need it anymore. The iPhone's very accurate. You can just set it up anywhere and it acts as a level. And we're 1 degree off. We're tilted a little bit this way. I can certainly feel it, that 1 degree. So I might try to, I love this location though. Did I show you this location? Here, look. There's no one here. Look at this location. Look at this. I'm like right on this beautiful green field. It's lovely. I've got beautiful hills around me. It's sunny. And it's a trailhead. So if we look out here, you can see there's a trail. There's horse riding trails and stuff. And look out here. There's not a single car in this parking lot. It's just me. It's just me. I love that. Oh, all right. Oh, that is that's a nice indulgence there with the whipping cream in there. Um, so yes, this spot. I mean, we're still alone. That car that pulled in, pulled out. We're just still alone here, and I'm going to be able to do. I have a conference call today on Zoom, and I'm going to be able to do that right from here. Um, 3 bars of 5G. I mean, honestly, I'm glad we found this place. I really am. This is going to be a nice spot to come to. And like I said, there's some little spots. Now, I don't know how busy this gets during the summer, but there's some little spots around here that have shade. Because in the summer, it's going to get hot here. But yeah, I think this is going to work. This is very nice. It's a nice fresh smell. I've got the sunroof open. I cracked open just a little bit one of these awning windows just to let some fresh air in. So, um, some updates. The propane gauge, after I've recalibrated it, seems to be working. So we'll keep an eye on that. So check that one off. The black tank monitor, since the rains have stopped, seems to be working. But I do have that spray stuff that I do want to put on there. So when things dry out a little bit more, because I have to climb up under the RV to do it, I'm going to do that. Just put an extra coating on there so that it's protected from any moisture. Maybe it's picking up, invalid moisture readings from the other side of the tank, the outside, because the coating isn't thick enough. So we'll do that. The new blind came in. I still have my old one up. I'm sentimental to that old one because it took me so much work to fix it. So I'm going to keep it up for now. And then it will eventually fail because the line was already frayed a lot, so it will fail. I'll put the new one up. I received some new Mopar mud flaps for the front. These are thinner. I'll show them to you. Much smaller. They're kind of like the rear mud flaps that Panoramic already puts on the rear. They replace those with the Panoramic mud flaps. And they look like they're a little bit more simple to attach. And so that's on my to-do list. Although the repair that I did on the driver's side front mud flap seems to be holding. So it seems to be doing well. I might keep those on until it fails, which it probably will eventually fail because it's only being held on with 2 versus 3 clamps. So it'll likely fail at some point. But for now, I'll keep it on. So checking these things off. I need to make an appointment. Truma got in contact with me about the Truma Aventa air conditioner. Sometimes in a heavy winds in a storm, a few little drops of water will come in the RV. It's not a lot. It's not like a steady stream. It's not a lot. But they want to get it fixed. I want to get it fixed. So Panoramic made me a appointment to an RV dealership in Santa Cruz. Not a dealership, a repair shop in Santa Cruz. And so I'm going to take it in to get that and the Winegard antenna addressed. I haven't planned that trip yet. It probably will be in a week or so. Julio's going to be out of town. He's going on a business trip, so I might just use that time to travel down to Santa Cruz and get the RV. I have to call them because I don't obviously want the RV to be out of commission. So if I have to keep it there overnight, I'm gonna have to think twice about that. I'm hoping I'll call them. I'm hoping it's easy enough that I can take it in early in the morning. In which case, what I would do is I would drive down to Santa Cruz because it's a little bit of ways from me. Stay overnight there and then take it in early in the morning, as early as I can, and then have them address those things. Hopefully they can get it done in the day and then be done with it and drive it back. So that's my hope. And right now, other than that, yeah, I don't have any other issues to report on the Panoramic. It's doing really well in the shakedown period. So I couldn't be happier. I mean, you're always going to run into some things, always. The 3 RVs I've had, there's always been stuff. It always happens. These things are complicated. They're as complicated, if not more complicated, than a house. And I don't know if any of you have bought a new house, but there's always problems there. You get the added constraint that this is driving down the road and everything's self-contained and rattling around, and so there's much more chance for things to go wrong. But luckily, things have been pretty good in the Panoramic, and I will be honest with you, I will report if you know like I did with the blinds, things that happen. I'll let you know about them. Okay, I'm going to get to work a little bit. I'm going to prepare for my call. I'm going to have lunch, and then I will check back in with you guys. Well, probably by that time it's going to be time to head back home, but I'll check back in with you guys. All right. So I found this out on the Victron. So this is the energy battery monitor. And there's a bunch of, I've never really played with it, but yesterday I played with it, and there's a bunch of different things. You can look at like your deepest discharge and how much total watt hours you've used during any particular cycle and all this stuff. But one of the modes is usually it just tells you what your battery percentage is. Like I'm at 100%. But one of the modes is if you go down, it tells you based on your current usage, I can go 95 hours right now. So that's based on I'm getting a little bit of solar power, not very much, 1.1 amps coming in. I've got the refrigerator on, and I got the inverter on. So I'm drawing about, I'd say when the refrigerator's off duty cycle, I'm probably drawing around 25 watts of power just running the background systems and stuff like that. And then when the refrigerator comes on its duty cycle, then this will drop down. But so that tells you 94 hours. I'm going to keep that up there because that's really useful to know if we need to, move the rig into the sun or go for a drive or something like that. But I thought that I'd share that with you. That's a neat little feature. And this is just the solar controller, and this is just showing right now we're in the sun, but we're only drawing 1.2 amps. We can draw a lot more than that, but we're only pulling in about 17 watts of power. So that's not a lot. But if I reposition the van then and get those solar panels more directly in the sun, of course it's also wintertime right now, and it's morning, so the sun's not high, but we could probably significantly boost that. And then just showing you here, this is the inverter, so you can show like right now nothing is using any power right now, but like if I were to turn on the TV, let's just, because that's on AC power, so I'm just gonna turn on the TV. You can see there it's taking half an amp of power, and then I can show how much, 30 watts, 32 watts to run the TV. And then if you come over to here, see this is dropped down. The energy monitors drop down to say from 90 some to 80, 78 hours. So if I keep the TV on at my current rate with the amount of battery lithium capacity I have, then I can go 74 hours. And you can see if I shut the TV off, then that should pop back up again. All right. So you can play around with this. So right now, for instance, I have both the WeBoost, which is the 5G booster, and the whole coach Wi-Fi on. But watch, if I shut off, let me go back here. I'm going to shut off the whole coach Wi-Fi. And you can see that's going up 85, 86 hours, 87 hours, 88 hours. That's just shutting off the whole coach Wi-Fi. 90 hours, 91, right? And if I shut off the 5G booster, we're at 96, 97 hours, 98, right? 100 hours, just by shutting those two. Those are constant draw components. So those are always, if they're on, they're obviously always drawing a little bit of power, but you can see how it can affect you. And if I come over here, even the inverter, just having the inverter on, let's say nothing else is drawing power, but let's say I shut the inverter off. Look at that. So basically, I'm drawing so little power right now because nothing's really drawing any power now in the RV. except for maybe the carbon monoxide detector, stuff like that. Just really small components that are running. I can get 240 hours. And at this rate, because I'm getting solar power in, the solar power is bringing about as much energy probably as I'm drawing right now. And so the battery monitor is saying, you know what, you can go infinitely long. As long as these conditions remain and you're in the sun, you can go infinitely long. But I'm going to turn on my stuff again, and you're going to see that drop. So I'm going to turn on the whole coach Wi-Fi, and I'm going to turn on the 5G booster because I need those two things. Now you see that coming down. 114 hours. So I think I'm going to keep that on all the time. I mean, not that I really worry about, I never in this coach worry about how much energy I'm using. I just use it like I'm at home. But that'll help educate me. It'll calibrate me, I guess. So I just become more aware of this coach and its particular setup. Every coach is different depending on your battery capacity, your inverter, what components you have inside, what components are on or off at any given time, your solar. Every coach is different. So for me, for this coach, this will just help me understand this coach a little bit better. So I'll have a more intuitive feel if we're out boondocking for a long period of time, for instance, and we're in the shade. I'll just have a more intuitive feel about when do we need to kind of pack up, go for a drive, or move the van into some sunlight. Anyway, just something technical I thought I'd share with you. Thanks for sticking with me. So I flipped the RV around so we're facing the other way, and now we're pulling in 8 amps, 150 watts of power, and we're pulling in an excess of energy than we're actually using right now. So we have infinite hours. So obviously the sun's going to go down, but at this rate, we're actually, that INF just means we're pulling in more energy than we're consuming. So yeah, turn on the water pump. All right, I'm going to do a little work here, and then I'm going to make some lunch. Getting a little chilly in here. Excuse me. All right, I just had an excellent call, my Zoom call. I'll let you guys in a little bit on my backstory. I hope it's not too boring. But in my previous life, before I retired, I came from Silicon Valley, and I was an entrepreneur there. Eventually ended up in some senior executive positions at some companies. The last company that I had before I retired was my own company. It was an AI company. And I invested a lot of my money building this AI technology to basically, how do I explain it? So you guys all know ChatGPT, I'm sure. That's the new latest AI craze that everyone's going crazy about, which is really cool, by the way. But my company did something a little bit different than what ChatGPT does. ChatGPT is a large language model, and so it means you can kind of type or ask it in natural language a bunch of questions, and it's pretty good. Its knowledge base is pretty good that it can pretty much answer almost anything you ask it, and it can be really specific, like even scientific or medical or things like that. It's pretty good. But my company didn't do anything like that. My company my background is, I'm just chatting away here. My background is I came from Apple's human interface group a long time ago. And so I've always had an interest in the way human computers interact and human computer interaction. And so one of the things that I found was that whenever we use computer systems, whether it's like Google search or you search on your phone, you search on the web and things like that, I found that we're always adapting ourselves to technology. So you find when you do a Google search that you have to be very specific about how you string your keywords together. And then sometimes you have to like learn the language of computers to say minus sign a certain word, like don't include that word, and all this other stuff, or plus sign, make sure this word's included. And I always found that to be disappointing. And so I wanted to create an AI that would adapt to humans. And so that's what my company did. And we were able to train the AI system on any kind of soft human concept. So like gentle or love or scary or anxious or happy or content or depressing. Any concepts like this that are about humanity and human emotions or how we relate to one another, this AI could learn, and then it could identify it when it read about it. So you could say to the AI, for instance, I'm looking for, it could be a YouTube video, it could be a movie, it could be a book. I'm looking for whatever it is that features a woman in a strong leading role and has to do with unrequited love, but I want it to be written in kind of a Philip K. Dick style, but I want it to be a Western. Okay, all those concepts I just rattled off, like those are things that this AI would excel at being able to identify. And so today's AI, even ChatGPT, they have no understanding of these human concepts. So if you ask, for instance, ChatGPT, can you identify romantic adoration in Jane Austen's books, right? It will tell you about Jane Austen. It will tell you about her books. It will tell you that, yes, they feature romantic adoration, but it never goes into any of the books themselves. They're not able to go into the book and say, oh, here's actually that particular theme interwoven throughout, Pride and Prejudice. And here's the chapters, for instance, where it really occurs, and here's where it's really absent, that type of thing. Whereas the AI that I developed would be able to not just tell you that, but it would be able to show you graphically where exactly in the book these particular concepts are occurring, how much they're occurring, when they're waning off, and things like that. Anyway, I thought it was a cool technology, obviously, since I invested a lot of money into it. And now that I'm kind of retired, I'm looking for ways to, what they call in the industry, open source it. So I want to make it freely available to everyone. So mainly to developers, so that they can create new cool applications that use this technology, because I think it would really enhance and improve the experience, our experience of using technology, of using apps, of using our devices, of using search, if we would be able to more naturally communicate with computer systems and be able to say, you know what, I'm looking for a book that's appropriate for my 10-year-old girl. Well, 10-year-old girls read certain things and like certain concepts that maybe other age groups don't. And so the company was called Intelligo, would be able to, the AI would be able to understand that concept and then search for that stuff. And when you took a look at it, you could more naturally communicate with the AI and say, you know what, I want it to be a little less about romance, or I want it to be a little more whatever it might be, right? Science fiction-y, whatever. And then the AI could in real time adapt to that and refocus its efforts and call down the results and kind of hone in and to the thing that you're looking for. So anyways, I just had a call today with one of the companies in Silicon Valley that helped create ChatGPT. They are a very interesting company. Now they are working on artificial intelligence that will help to police artificial intelligence so that no harm will be done to mankind. Because as these systems become much more capable, it's the old, as they say, paperclip factory example. You tell the AI, oh, I want you to optimize making paper clips, and the next thing you know, it's taken over the whole world, and it's taken over whole countries and economies to make every factory in the world create paper clips. So they're working on AI technology that will keep that in check and kind of give AI a way that it will not harm humanity. Anyway, that's who I was talking to about Intelligo, and it was a fascinating discussion. Makes me miss being back in Silicon Valley, kind of, sort of, not really. I mean, I'm glad to be here instead. But the gentleman was very, very smart and very interesting. So anyway, that was the call today. Long-winded, sorry, that's me. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk a little bit about my background and where I come from and what I find interesting. And that's one of the things I find interesting outside of the RV. This is the thing I find most interesting, is quality of life and just enjoying life more so than technology. But when I combine the two, then I'm really happy. Okay, that is about it for today. Thank you so much for joining along with me. been really pleasant being up here, I have to tell you, and I'm glad that we found it together. We're going to be coming up here again for sure. But it's just so pretty with all the greenery, and it's quiet and it's private, and I get 5G, so I can't complain about that. All right, I will see you on my next video. Take care. Bye. Well, doesn't get much more pretty than that. Just pulled over here on the side of the road on my way back home. Thought I'd pull over and show you guys the view. Look how green those hills are from all the rain.